Okay, let's take a look at creating an application where we can add two numbers together. Now I put my mouse down here in the lower right hand corner, and when I put it on that white square, it becomes two arrows, and if I click and hold down my left mouse button, that allows me to resize it to whatever I want. Okay, now I'm going to drop on some labels. Specifically, I'll drop on 4 labels. We'll talk more about what those are for. And I'm going to drop on 2 text boxes. I'll drop on a button. Kind of have to have in your mind what your application is going to look like before you even begin. Now, the idea here is that they'll put a number 1 here, a number 2 here, they'll click the button, it'll add them together. Which means I need the button right below here. And my answer is going to go right here. Okay. Now this is number 1. The label is so the user of your program can easily tell what needs to be put in there. So I click this one time, don't double click it or you bring up the code. And I come over here to the text and I'm going to type in number 1. Now if you don't see text here, you may have to scroll to see it, but it should be under properties. Now label 2. I'm going to change the text to number 2. Now I want to name the text boxes. I don't need to name the labels because I'm not going to refer to that in code. But this one I want to rename. So I'm going to go up to the top. If it's not in alphabetical order, you want to choose the A to Z button here. And the name with the parentheses around is where we want to choose. My naming convention, I'll refer to it as TB underscore num1. I'll click the second one here and I'll give it a name, TB underscore num2. Now this button, I want it to say add. So I come down. Text is what you use to change what it displays. So say add. Label 3, I want that to say answer. Now label 4 here, this is where I'm going to put my resulting value. So I want to give it a name because I want to refer to it in code. And you can, I'll do LB underscore answer. Now for the text, maybe I don't want to show to begin with. So instead of saying label 4, I'm just going to do a backspace and press enter and have it not display anything. Now that gets a little bit tricky if you want to click it later on, because if you click outside of it, then you don't see it at all. But if you come over here, then you got your form 1, you can do your drop down, and you can then go to choose label answer, and that selects it. Now we'll see later on that you can at runtime you can assign these certain values. So you could have this just have it say something in design mode, but when you run it, it blanks it out. Okay, now I'm going to resize this form, so I'll click here in this gray area, choose this bottom corner and shrink it up. Now my form 1, that's not very meaningful. So my text on it, I can say the summing numbers. And you see it changes the title up here at the top. Okay, now that I've designed this, I'm going to double click add. And that brings up by default the button click, which is where we want to put our code. And I'm going to declare some variables. Declare num1, num2, and my answer as double. Now num1, I want it equal to my text box, TB underscore num1. Now we'll leave it that way. You see we got a red squiggly. The TB num1, what that refers to is this entire control. Well, that's not what we want. What we want to retrieve is what it says. Now remember, the property to retrieve what it says is the text property. So if I come back over here, I actually want to put in dot text. We got another issue though. And this helps you if you put your mouse over. It tells you that converting from string to double. Remember, we declared num1 as a double, but the text property is a string. So over here, some of these you may return are numbers. Some are string. Some may be Boolean, like this true here. I'm guessing that's true or false. Tab index, I'm guessing that's probably an integer if I had to guess. I don't know for sure. I'd have to experiment with myself. Okay, let's go back to our code. So I can click the tab here to go back. There we go. And I want to convert this string to a double. Remember how we did that? There's a double dot parse. And that'll convert that string and to a double, and then assign it to num1. Well, we want to bring in our second number. Double dot parse tb underscore num2. Notice by referring to tb, all I have to do is start typing tb, and I can see very easily all the text box values. Got num2.text. Now we want to add those together. So answer is going to equal to num1 plus num2. Okay, so we're bringing in the value from text box 1, bringing in the value from text box 2, and assigning it to these variables here. This calculation is going to add them together and then assign it to answer, which is a double. Now we want to write it back out to our form, and we want it to be in lb underscore answer. Dot text, because text is what it reads, equals answer. Now there's a problem here. If I press enter on it, you see we got our red squiggly. Remember, this is a double, number with decimals. Text is a string. Well, you have to remember how you convert this to a string. We did a toString in this manner. Okay. So now if we run this, if I put in 3 here, 4 here, and click add, see it put 7. We put in 5.12 and click add, gives us 9.12. So it adds these two together. And that would be our application to add two numbers together.